despite being a disappointment in the last segment, I do have a top 5 silliest payments in baseball headed into 2024. Dan, do you want it now?
Your punishment for slowness is you're going to get off the second top 5 list. It's been demoted in this segment because Stugotz, who is ahead of you in hierarchy, the pecking order, has been consistently getting annoyed by how much you're yammering because it cuts into his time.
I didn't say that.
How would I know it otherwise? Top 5. Stugotz has.
I mean, the kid won't shut up.
Stugotz has top 5, and America has been waiting for this because when Stugotz gets fired up and starts throwing things in the furnace, he comes up with the best of the sports stuff that people want to hear, and he's got. This is amazing. It's just a jewel. I'm surprised he didn't hoard it on God Bless Football. I'm so happy he shares it with us here. Top 5 teams you don't want to see in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. It's that time, Dano. I mean, it is. It's time to start thinking about it. These are the teams that the elite teams don't want to see in the playoffs.
Thank you. I thought I explained that, but I appreciate the elaboration.
Just hammering home the point.
Before you do that, I just want to know, because after we went off of Max, Stugotz, with a giant smile on his face, said to Greg Cody, Greg, I don't understand how you don't understand that whenever he asks you, Dan asks you a direct question, it's because we're right up against the clock. But I further don't understand that when he tells you in that question, because Jeremy's fouled up the timing of everything, hey, Jeremy, we can't do your segment because there's no time. Greg, tell us all your thoughts on Ohtani. It seems a bit of a poker tell there that you should have been able to see that I was walking you into a timed out break.
I know. I feel it. I start to talk, and then I immediately sag inwardly because I know that damn horn sound is upon me. It's going to be any second now. What a feeling.
I felt the need to deliver it as James Earl Jones in Field of Dreams because, he said the one constant throughout time is baseball, and I said the one constant throughout this show is when Dan is asking you a direct question, it means you're up against it.
I know.
Yeah.
It could not have been telegraphed anymore. I was ashamed of myself as I did it. I felt like I was abusing an old person.
Yeah, you were. Ageism. Yeah, it really is.
Because I did it so poorly, it felt to me like tripping someone who doesn't have eyesight.
Right.
Like it felt cruel. I did it poorly, not gently.
Have you done that? Speaking from experience. It's a strange reference point.
It really was. I thought that too.
I only do it on Christmas Day. It's part of.
But everyone does it on Christmas Day.
It's part of how I celebrate the holidays.
It doesn't even count on Christmas Day.
I said to Greg Cody, Greg, give me all your thoughts on this. We're out of time. Jeremy, you're not allowed to speak because you're a yammerer and we don't have enough time. Greg Cody leaned into it, gave us 3 syllables, and didn't ever see it coming. It is like tripping a person who never sees it coming. Top 5 teams you do not want to see in the playoffs.
Number 5, Dan, the New York Football Giants.
Really?
They are in the mix. Tommy DeVito. You have agents kissing parents. You have parents kissing parents. You have everyone kissing each other. A little magic. You have a solid defense. And, of course, you have Wink Martindale. No one wants to see him.
I feel like they're on the exact opposite list.
They're in the mix. They're right
Teams
there.
that you want to see in the
playoffs.
playoffs.
That's the team you do not want. That defense is good, and there is some magic with Tommy DeVito.
Chris, can you put together, please, and I'm going to put this ahead of the line on Jeremy as well, teams you do want to see in the playoffs and see how many of them are the same as Stugotz's list here. Can I get a picture, please, on the screen as fast as humanly possible of Tommy DeVito's agent, who I believe is in a costume. I do not believe that is either a real agent or a real human being.
Tommy said he's the Italian Stallion of agents. I love that. Don't want to face him, Dan.
Tommy DeVito, I have a theory on everything that's happening there that we will get to at some point in the show because it's fascinating to see someone who lives at home take the lane of nobody knows how to evaluate quarterbacks. You know what I'm going to do to get to the commercials in New York? I'm just going to make it as fun and strange as possible. I'm going to play with this, and I'm going to have an entirely different experience in New York than Zach Wilson is having because I don't have expectations. And look at my agent. I'm going to keep reducing my expectations by telling you I live at home, I live with my family, and I'm going to go full Italian, and I'm going to see if I can get the commercials that way.
Sports are great, though, in this way, right? Because this is a kid from New Jersey, from Livingston, went to Syracuse. I know a million Tommy Devitos. I grew up with all of them. I mean, I'm serious. And he's living out his dream playing quarterback and doing it well for the Giants. I mean, I love sports.
Leaning into all of the Italian stuff as his agent kisses his dad on the cheek
best.
and he comes out with the chain and the agent's wearing the fedora. As he lives at home, he's looking for the DiGiorno's sponsorship, right? Like the make-at-home pizza. It's perfect for him.
Yeah,
he literally is leaning into all of it. Even if he ends up not being good, he's going to end up with all these sponsorships.
He also needs to stay at home. That's part of the story, right? Like if he leaves and gets an apartment in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, everything's going to fall apart. I'm telling you.
I know that outfit is a costume because I was a mobster for Halloween in 3rd grade, and I had that exact same outfit on. We are finding a picture from my dad's Facebook. The exact same outfit.
That's great.
That's a costume. I know it.
You guys would say, is the name of the show Peaky Binders? Peaky Blinders?
man,
Peaky Blinders.
Blinders?
Peaky
Fine,
Blinders.
yeah.
I
mean,
love
both
all
words,
this knowing
$4.
the name of the show, but waiting to see where Dan was going to go with it. You're almost there.
Is it a
You're
correct?
almost
Is it
there.
a correct appraisal?
Peaky Blinders?
The way that he looks,
Yeah.
something out of that.
Well, he's got the Cillian Murphy lips. I mean, well, close. No one has Cillian Murphy's lips. Am I right, Luce?
Number 4, Stugotz.
The Denver Broncos, Dan. Sean Payton, a coach who has been there and done it. Russell Wilson, a quarterback who has been there and done it. Plenty of playoff experience and a lot of jewelry. Don't want to face him.
Stugotz, can you just stop for a second? I'd like to now mix the lists. Chris, Cody, your number 5, top 5 teams you do want to see in the playoffs. Number 5.
The Broncos.
Wait a minute.
Crazy.
That's insane.
The Dolphins will lose to
Number
them.
from teams that have a chance to get.
Obviously,
it's not the
teams
Carolina
in the hunt.
Panthers. It's teams that you have a chance to get to the playoffs. Number 4, Chris, Cody.
The Giants.
Wait a minute.
But Wink Martindale.
Number 3, Stugotz.
The Rams, Dan. Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, championship DNA at two of the funniest names in the history of sports, Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell. I mean, you do not want to see those two in the NFL playoffs. The Rams are good. Be careful.
If you're interested, I have a top 5 list of teams you're ambivalent about playing in the
I love that.
playoffs.
Yeah.
That's a good list.
Yeah.
Number 2, Stugotz.
Not 2 to or
No,
3 to Chris.
No, I'm not going to Chris
Or 5
yet.
to
No,
Greg?
I'm mixing it
Okay.
up. Okay, number 5, Greg Cody.
The Steelers.
Number 3, Chris Cody.
The Steelers.
Number 4, Greg Cody.
The Chargers. Minus Herbert.
They're not in it, though.
They're 5-8. They're in it. They're on the periphery of being in it.
Everyone's
They're not
in
out
it.
of it.
They'd be in it in the NFC.
They're in it. In it to win it. Thank you. I made that phrase up. In it to win it. It just came to me. It's unbelievable.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, it does.
I think it might catch on.
You think? Could be a T-shirt sale at the Greg Cody Show. Christopher, get on that. In it to win it. With quotes, maybe. In it to win it, like a phrase.
Right.
Okay. Where were we?
That's an excellent question. Stugotz, are you at number 3 or number 2?
I'm at number 2, Dan.
Number 2, Stugotz.
The Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen doesn't care who you are or where he plays you. They're dangerous.
Put it on the poll. Does Josh Allen care who you are or where he plays you?
He's going to throw it to you.
And that you can be anybody. It can be anybody.
Yeah. He's going to have to overcome whatever he does initially.
What's amazing to me about the amount of time we spent on Kadarius Toney yesterday is that the guy who gets to skate on what Sunday was, Stugotz, Josh Allen had like 4 or 5 plays where he's clearly a centaur. No one can tackle him, but he's about to go down to his knees. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what a 4-year-old would do in this situation. I'm just going to throw it up in the air and flutter it out and hope someone is around it that is in my colors. ridiculously reckless. All 4 of them could have ended up in a linebacker's lap for a pick 6 because he didn't know where he was putting it. Number 2, Chris Cody.
Teams you want to see in the playoffs. Number 2, Colts.
Yeah, I agree.
Where are we on Greg Cody's ambivalent list?
Number 3,
Number 3, Greg Cody.
the Vikings.
Clear your throat. Not into the microphone.
He said, "Clear my throat." I'm right here. Where am I going?
Following orders. Yep.
Thank you.
Number 1, Stugotz.
The Cleveland Browns. Defense wins championships. They have a great one, and they have a quarterback who never sweats. Watch out.
It is true. He doesn't sweat.
Ever.
His stoicism, put it on the poll. Does Joe lead the league in stoicism? Number 1, Chris Cody.
Teams you want to see in the playoffs. Number 1, the entire NFC South.
You can pick any of them. That's it. That's excellent. In fact, we can make this all 3 of these lists.
That's honestly your best work, Chris. That was spectacular.
And it's only Stugotz's list because it's literal in that case. None of us want to see those teams actually in the playoffs. Greg Cody, are we on number 2 or number 1 with your ambivalence?
We're on number 2, the Browns.
Baker could be a problem. I'm just saying. Oh, well,
But that's Tampa. He just said the Browns.
I thought he said NFC South, didn't he?
Okay, but
Then we went to my dad.
I know. I was going back. I know. There's a lot going on here, Dan. But I was
really
going
is.
back
A lot
to
of
Chris.
lists, yeah. In his defense, it is hard to follow.
Baker used to be a Brown, so
Right.
that's why it was confusing for
A
us.
lot going on. Jeremy won't stop talking. Continue, Dan.
That is correct. He won't stop talking as either Jeremy or as Winnie the Pooh. But we need to get to our climactic and most important because we're all done, right? Everyone is all done here?
I have a number 1 to go.
Okay.
For
So
ambivalence.
finally,
That's where he was headed.
the number 1 most ambivalent team from the playoffs.
The Colts.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
I remember years ago, Stugotz, the video coming out of a fight of a basketball game overseas. And the fight had thrown chairs and was totally insane. And I thought to myself, if that had happened in our country, in the NBA, it would have echoed like the malice at the palace.
Of course.
It would have been a seismic national sports event that a fight and the video of a fight that concerned people had been in this country, it would have been received vastly differently because we cared about the sport and we cared about the thing that happens in this country. And I was reminded of it when I saw a video, Turkish soccer, a video of an owner in Turkish soccer being so displeased with the referees. Everyone's displeased with the referees. This is what the pandemic caused. The greatest virus that echoes, that doesn't kill a bunch of people, but kills my soul every day in the content business, is the pandemic birthed a general unhappiness with the refereeing.
Even Andy Reid is doing it. He's the nicest man in the world.
Even Mahomes is doing it. Look, all sorts of pandemic collateral of things in odd places that hurt because our mental health has been challenged as a human race by nothing more than a pandemic that has birthed complaining about referees in a way I've never seen before.
How are you guys so chill as this video is playing right now? There is a team owner from a Turkish club in Ankara punching the lights out of an official. Flush. Like, you guys have seen this before?
No. This
Chin's
is,
made of glass.
This is the part I seen. The
Oh,
part
you should see some of the remnants of this fight. Dude did damage.
he did damage, and if you can show that
Look at
again,
that flush. Look how he caught him.
Yes.
Flush.
If you can show me from the other angle, though, if you can show me that video just one more time, again, of a Turkish owner, just straight knuckles right to the face. I don't know what Jeff Passan did to him to deserve that, but Jeff Passan goes down like a sack of potatoes, and it It is a punch that if it had happened in this country, can you imagine? I don't know who owns the Kansas City Chiefs. Is it still the Hunt family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
It will
imagine?
always be the Hunt family.
Look at that. Gave him a black eye immediately.
It hurt really bad.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Will the Hunt family always own the Chiefs? Will it always be the Hunt family?
Look at the aftermath of that punch right there.
Oh, brother.
I don't know why that photo is so funny.
The hospital in a neck brace?
Why does he have a neck brace for getting punched in
My
the
guy's
cheek?
trying to get paid.
Oh, you don't
Call
know.
the lawsuits. I mean,
The guy dove, all right? The ref took a dive. That's what I saw.
Is he giving a statement? Neck braces are funny. I'm just going to come out and say it.
I love Greg's posture right now.
What?
You're so good at this that you're super relaxed and
I
confident.
am relaxed.
And
I'm in my living room.
Guy took a dive.
He
Swig
did.
my coffee.
I think he did take a dive. He dramatically fell. No matter how square the punch landed, the guy took a dive. He exaggerated.
Never has
Sorry.
anyone been so relaxed and yet so bad at something.
I know what's happening here. I think I need to draw up another play for Greg Cody to get him back involved.
yeah, we do.
I've never been uninvolved.
All right, let's do this. This is what just happened. So he is uninvolved. He gets hurt and narcissistic when we're not selling his book or playing his songs. He already
Pride
checked
of a
out.
Lion? This book?
He already checked out when we played his song at the beginning. He's had enough for today. Once he gets his thing, he just wanders away because it's the only reason he's actually
He took
here.
a dive, and you know it.
That would have been better than what you did.
yeah.
I just did it. It's the exclamation point.
The
It's
thing.
that kind of thing, exactly.
That was in your headphone.
Jesus.
All right.
Oh, my God.
I love you.
Greg's right.
I slept in too late.
Well, I took the dog outside.
Now I will be raised.
Your laziness I will chide.
A little heads up.
Just look it up for yourself.
Would have been nice.
Why is technology your vice?
It's cold enough for snow flurries.
Greg, you could Google it in a
I
hurry.
can feel the chill rush through the door.
The high today is 74.
Why couldn't you say?
There's no need to tell you
that it is cold outside.
That is the debut of a singing Earlene Cody. I wish it had never happened.
Barely
was
singing.
singing?
Yeah, I was going to say.
That was sing-talking like
That was
Kesha.
2 hours of recording with Yeti.
Wow.
Let me explain something to you about the Cody family dynamic, and you can catch all of it at the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody podcast.
But thank you.
Fine.
The experience of Greg Cody on Tuesdays, if you had not noticed, is deteriorating.
Aren't we all?
The day is or
he
he is?
talks about me like I'm not even here.
Well, I talk about you in the meetings when you're not there.
Oh, I'll bet you do.
The same way. And
You're trying to work an end game. You're trying to figure out how to get rid of me without hurting my feelings.
no, the
Can
end,
he do it?
The end game is I'm worried you're going to end us all before we get to whatever it is
possible.
pays your son in 10 years because he's deferred all his payments and we still own
What
a
a
company
dumb
that
move.
works that you have not destroyed. But the thing that I want to explain to the audience about what the Greg Cody experience is, and you've heard it just a couple of times today, it happens a lot. There are very often, most of the time, maybe 100%, that our producers are trying to whisper to something to Greg Cody, and he doesn't know what's on air and what's not on air. And so he responds always as if it was on air and other people could hear it, but it was only him who could hear it. So now all you're getting is the response, which doesn't make any sense where it is that it's placed. But here's what's funny about what happened. I don't even remember what it was about. While you were talking at one point, your son, who produces your podcast, whispered in my ear, and I can make a distinction between what's on the air and what's not on the air. He whispered in my ear in disgust, spat at you. He gave you nothing there. And for that moment, I did not know it was actually your son or what I was thinking in my own head that just happened to come in your son's voice because I'm going crazy.
Right.
And you're making it worse. That
Your thoughts in Chris's voice?
I was not
Weird.
I was not sure. Yes, weird. Yes, agreed. Agreed.
I am your thoughts.
There's a simple solution to all this. There really is.
Ooh, I'm
Okay.
hungry.
If people are addressing me, meaning to, normally, they speak in their own voice. When they're addressing me through the speaker and only I am supposed to hear them, just pinch your nose. You know, speak like this so that it's a different kind of voice. And I have no idea. I have a crystal clear idea. All right, this time he's just speaking to me directly because he's going like this. He's speaking like this. And if you don't do that, if you speak to me in your if you speak to me in your regular voice, then I know that it's
Good idea.
on the air.
Yep.
Is that too much to ask?
This guy's an idiot.
But someone just pinched their nose and said that kind of thing, and you responded, yeah. So it still didn't work.
Oh, really?
Well, this is the
I'm
part
learning
that
it.
we
It's
have
new.
told him over the last 2 months when he files a complaint like this. You know what our answer is in here, right? Our answer in here is always, Greg, I wore a.
I'm literally
that
doing
wasn't
what he,
on the air.
I'm
That's
literally
Mike,
doing what he has.
That's Mike Ryan. You're
know, but it was-
laughing.
You pinch your nose?
I
It
did.
was funny,
And
though.
he's just
What it
cackling.
said was funny. When I hear something funny, I laugh.
Greg, it's a joke that's provided for you. It's
Trying to
I
fix
enjoyed it.
this.
it's a work in progress as we do the show. But the response, what Greg Cody keeps trying to get us to alter things that help him in the very easy doing of talking into a microphone. And what our explanation is again and again to Greg Cody when he says you have to put more tools in place that will help me is, Greg, for years on ESPN radio and video, Dan was wearing a physical clock on a baseball cap in order to help you with the clock. We set up a great joke on you in the last segment. All it required was for you to say the Indianapolis Colts so that you could get clipped in the multisyllabic word Indianapolis. But because you said the Colts and only that, you ruined the joke.
I mean, we should have recognized the cadence.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Got to know the teammate.
Exactly. Who says the Indianapolis Colts?
Nobody says that.
Nobody says that. They're the only Colts in sports. Is there even a college team nicknamed Colts? I can't think of one.
Lucy, at some point during the show today, I wish to get to your video from Army-Navy, but in terms of giving us a preview, I was very worried about this one. I was surprised that the SEC championship game had a parking lot tailgating situation. I was legitimately stunned by that. I thought for sure Georgia, Alabama was just going to be, the whole thing was going to be like Pat McAfee at on game day, where it's just everyone barking and shouting and drunk behind McAfee as he's leading these rolling cheers of insanity in the biggest game of the year.
I think when you put those games at a neutral field, a professional field with a corporate environment, it takes away from the tailgating experience, I think.
No, you're absolutely right. You've never said anything more correct.
Well, thank you.
There is nothing that can ruin the fun of having a soul more than corporations. They are
About
there.
7 of them sitting out there.
Yeah, there are so many of them out there. Yes, I feel them in the other room, trying to. So soon,
Can his inner dialogue tell him to cool it? Please, Chris.
there is a certain soulfulness required of fun, art, sports enjoyment that corporations can have in general trouble with. But when she told me that
was born a rambling man, talking to guests and doing the best he can. But when it's time for creep eating, no one understands why, like Dan the rambling man. Well, he's talking about discomfort in California as he tries to introduce us to all the smoke. But he's taking 4 minutes to get to the point. And Mike wants him to bring it on.
I thought that servicemen might be cautious around microphones and not want to say anything that would embarrass the country, and they would be very careful. How do you imagine that this went?
About like you
Lucy?
imagined it would go.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.